Tonight is the night, episode number 7 of Do the Move. My name's Chad, gonna be breaking down some things for y'all tonight. Here with my guy George, we've got Sean, John, Richie Buckets, Roberto, and J Dog himself, Joey. Boys, how we feeling tonight?
Good.
Doing all right.
Right on, right on. So we got pretty packed episode for y'all again tonight. As always, we're gonna try to go over every night of wrestling here. The main promotions. We've got Raw, SmackDown. I always overlook NXT, so we're gonna briefly go over that card as well. We've got Dynamite, Rampage. Couple of us went to the Impact shows over the weekend, so we're going to review Emergence. No spoilers for the upcoming Impact tapings that we got to see last night, followed by Chef's Kiss and Bone to Pick. So, to get things rolling here, we're just going to briefly go over what happened on Raw on Monday, August 8th. So we had Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky against Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka. And of course nothing is loading here for me. Boom. So that was a challenge for a match at Clash of the Castle. We had Seth freaking Rollins defeat Angelo Dawkins, Joey's favorite tag partner. What else we got here? Kevin Owens defeated Ezekiel. I heard that was a pretty brutal match. Damian Priest challenged Edge to a match in Toronto. We had Finn Balor defeat Rey Mysterio. And then Dakota Kai and Io Sky defeated Dana Brooks and Tamina to advance to the Women's Tag Team Championship Tournament. And Bobby Lashley defeated Ciampa to retain the United States Championship. Boom. Almost defeated Andrea Garcia and Spencer Slade in a handicap match. And Dolph Ziggler defeated Chad Gable. Next, AJ Styles defeated The Miz in a no disqualification match, and looks like after the match, Dexter Lumis was being carried out of the ring by security, so that was a surprise comeback there. So as we know, Triple H bringing back some old NXT guys who ended up leaving during Vince's regime. Any thoughts on Raw for Monday, guys? Any bullet points? Rich?
Yeah, I want to say shout out to the women's division, top tier women's division in my honest opinion. Having Bayley come back with Dakota Kai and Io Sky. The crowd was trying to heckle Bayley, but Bayley is such a great comedian. Just been able to just push it off. She called Dakota Kai Dakota Sky, and she acknowledged that, like, I already know I messed up her name, blah, 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 and whatnot. But no, Bayley coming back, it's a nice refresh, great heel. I'm loving to see what this faction does. And then the confrontation with Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and then they're going to face them at Clash at the Castle. That's going to be fun. And then they just had an all-out brawl. It just felt real. So that's my highlights from the show. Go ahead, Joey.
I'm just really happy for a guy like Dexter Lumis. Everything he was in NXT, he killed it as far as character commitment. If you didn't watch NXT like the last 2.5 years, which I'm guessing a vast majority of this group didn't, if you look up his stuff with specifically Indy Hartwell and their whole like romance, and to my knowledge, the only wedding in wrestling history not to have somebody have a cake thrown in their face. That wedding, the whole like quote unquote romance, Johnny Gargano being about him at first, but then teaming with him later. He's just a great character guy. And so to see somebody like that, who does have a good look as well, get a second chance when he lost his first chance through no fault of his own, I'm just very happy for it, especially the way in which they did it. But those are my comments on Lumis. I'm just happy for the guy. Sean, go ahead.
Overall, solid Raw. I loved the Bayley faction segment, but I think the Rollins versus Dawkins match was pretty fire. My favorite part, though, throughout the entire show was probably how they presented Kevin Owens. You can see a vast character
Recording
change.
in progress.
Keep going.
Okay.
Do we try it again, or are
No,
we
we're
good?
good. We're already live. It's live on Twitch. I can download it. We're good.
Okay. All right.
The character change in Kevin Owens from the Vince McMahon portrayal to how Triple H had him, which was basically Kevin Owens from the Indies, just brutalizing Ezekiel, was I'm just excited to see what comes from it.
Right on, right on. So I'm a dumbass and didn't record anything here. So yeah, we've already went through it. We'll figure it out. Move on to NXT from Tuesday the 9th. Nikita Lyons defeated Kiana James. Wes Lee defeated Trick Williams in a rounds match, which just looks like a boxing match from the image here on the results. Giovanni Vinci challenged Carmelo Hayes to a North American title match at Heatwave. Ariana Grace defeated Thea Hale. Hopefully I said that right. Probably not. Apollo Crews defeated Roderick Strong. I heard that was a pretty decent match from social media. Santos Escobar and Tony D'Angelo came to terms on a street fight at Final Accord. Pretty Deadly defeated Malik Blade and Edris Enafe. Hopefully I said that right. Zoe Stark defeated Cora Jade, and that was it. Any thoughts on NXT? Joey, go ahead.
I'm really happy for Zoe Stark specifically. This chick was out for quite a while with a pretty serious knee injury from a NXT women's tag titles ladder match back on Halloween Havoc, another 90s title that NXT steals for their quarterly shows. And to see that she's not only getting a pretty good push in NXT, but also that her and Nikita Lyons are in that women's tag tournament. I doubt they'll win the women's tag titles, but the fact that they are showing this much faith in her coming out of a serious injury to me is a really good sign. Zoe Stark to me is somebody that hopefully will beat Mandy Rose, who's had the title now for nearly 10 months, believe it or not. They've really been treating Toxic Attraction as a serious group. And so Zoe Stark, I think, could really use the babyface rub, and I'm happy that she's getting that shot again. Go ahead, Brian.
So, like, a small detail I noticed on NXT this week was even on Wade Barrett's commentary, it was during the Thea Hale and Ariana Grace match where Ariana Grace, as she was going for the finish and everything like that, she hit one of Wade Barrett's moves, and Wade Barrett actually called it like it was his own move. So I really enjoyed just that little detail of Wade Barrett still remembering, oh, hey, I was a pro wrestler at one point. And I'm glad to see that my moves are still incorporated even with today's NXT stars. But I feel like Thea Hale and Ariana Grace had a really fun match as well, too. Ariana Grace, is a beauty queen, and she ended up with a shiner after the match. So I'm super happy that NXT seems to be moving forward in this positive and uphill direction more than anything else. But that's just all my thoughts on that.
Wasteland was the move that of Barrett's that she hit. Wasteland is where he or she in this case has him up in a fireman's carry and just like throws him forward. And as Brian said, Wade was literally like happy as a kid in a candy store there. It was actually quite endearing to see that. So anyone else for NXT comments?
Ooh, Bobby.
Go, Bobby.
Unmute, Bobby.
Unmute, Chef.
Sorry about that. Joey, you recommended NXT for like the longest time, and so I've been watching now. You know what? It's not a bad product. I am liking things on there. Yeah, I'm gonna keep on watching. Honestly, it's a good product, and I do recommend a lot of us in this chat to be tuning in on Tuesdays because there's a lot of good young up and coming stars on that show. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah.
They do have Heat Wave coming up as well on Tuesday, so it is treated as a more serious show. Go ahead, Chad. Sorry for cutting you off. Just wanted to plug that.
No, yeah, you've mentioned that to me a lot, and we used to go back. Actually, Bobby would watch pre NXT 2.0. We watched some of that stuff together, and it was really nice. It was really fun to watch. Obviously, this 2.0 started off really, really fucking cheesy in my opinion, and it was kind of hard to watch at first. But it's definitely worked its way through all the kinks and everything, and it's definitely become a pretty good show to watch. So I do keep it on in the background. I don't get to catch all the matches, but yeah, it's overall it's been pretty solid. I can't really complain after giving it some time. So
The Triple H effect.
Triple H. Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll go back to Black and Gold. That's my ultimate goal there, is just to go back to that. The overall aspect and the visuals, from that those days, I prefer. I just like the darkness of everything.
What, you don't like the psychedelic look? Don't like
I don't know, man.
He's not Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't like the psychedelics.
I'm not on that shit. No, by any means. I'm on the cowboy shit, but I don't know. It's growing on me. It's growing on me for sure. It's growing on me.
I actually like how they lit up the arena this time around, because back in Black and Gold you really couldn't see much fans. So
yeah, no, it's nice.
I mean, with everything lit up and everything, just like a little bit brighter and a little bit more colorful. I mean, that's probably what attracts more people to it. I mean, because I don't think people are attracted to like the black and gold as opposed to like the multiple different colors. But
a little more personable. It's not like
exactly, yeah. And it's definitely gotten way better over the weeks. It was a rough start to begin with, but like I've been enjoying it every single Tuesday or every chance that I can catch it. So and I cannot wait for Heatwave this next coming Tuesday.
Right on. Well, maybe get on and watch that on Tuesday and see how that goes. Moving on to SmackDown from August 12th. So we had a women's tag team championship tournament match. Raquel Rodriguez and Aliyah versus Shotzi and I don't know how to say that. Is it Xylee? Is that how you say it? Yeah. Okay. All right. I was right.
You did, and it's Aaliyah, who Brian's a big fan of. But yes, Aaliyah.
I love Aaliyah. She's great.
Yeah,
it's Aaliyah. Yeah.
Right. My apologies. I don't watch SmackDown as much as I should, apparently. So, Raquel and Aaliyah ended up winning that match. Let's see here. Oh, this is a lot of notes here. Next up, we had Hit Row with B-Fab and Brandon Scott versus Trevor. What the fuck? Why is this all cut off here? Well, my notes here are all messed up. So, none of this is going through. Hit Row ended up winning the match. Thank you. Next up, we had Drew McIntyre versus the Usos. It looks like Drew McIntyre and Madcap Moss were the winners of that. So it looks like at some point Madcap had entered his way into the match. I'll let you guys interject on that. We had an Intercontinental Championship match. Gunther with Ludwig versus Shinsuke. And Gunther retained the title in that. Any thoughts or additions that I might have missed with my notes there? John, go ahead. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I just want to say I love how SmackDown was showing the history of past champions for the Intercontinental Championship. It's really cool that they're doing like these packages. They did that last week on Raw for the the US Championship, and I thought it hypes you up to like make you want to stay and watch the whole show and make it to the main event. Richard.
Man, my whole government name. You sound like you Froggy, bro.
Richie Buckets, bro.
So I know Joey's gonna disagree with me, but I'm glad that Hit Row is back. They are. I love them. I have an affinity for Hit Row. I am glad that they are back. I hope in the future, or hell, Survivor Series, that we get Hit Row versus Bianca Belair and the Street Profits or something like that. I think me and Brian were talking about this yesterday. We were having pizza. Yeah, and we want this to happen. So I'm happy about that. I'm also happy about Gunther legitimizing the Intercontinental Championship For so long, it seemed like a mid card. I mean, I guess it is a mid card belt, but at the end of the day, he is elevating it to a status that I've never seen in a while. So I'm excited for the push for Gunther. Go ahead, Joey, because we know you have a mini bone to pick before the bone to pick segment.
I mean, it's not so much a bone to pick. I just want to talk about your boy Pennies, and I'm not going to call him Top Dollar because he's pennies to me. That man is not a star. That guy, he thinks he's worth $10 million when in reality, I don't think he's worth much at all. To call himself, for those that didn't see, apparently he referred to the group as the hottest thing in wrestling before their release. And I am all for, as I mentioned in the group chat, for somebody thinking that they want to be the best and striving to be that world champion or that tag champion that headlines pay-per-views. Fantastic. But I am not somebody that thinks that they were really that special before they were released. And to say that they were the hottest thing in wrestling to me is just flat out ignorant. There's been rumors that he's had attitude problems in the past. And I think that this is showing that he really hasn't been humbled since his release. If you recall, people, and I'll be quick, he did a couple like rap videos, I think, after his release under maybe his real name of AJ Francis, but they were not too kind to the company. And so I just worry for somebody who I do like in Ashanti the Adonis getting thrown out with AJ when he inevitably gets released. Go ahead, John, because I see your hand is up first.
Yeah. Just want to double check my mic's good, everyone.
You
It is
still
not.
still sound like a robot, but we'll have to do with that.
All right, Richard, just go ahead. I'll try to fix it.
All right, so I guess this is where we get into the debate and the dialogue. Look, I mean, if you watched NXT hit row and then them getting elevated and getting pushed to SmackDown, it was not a good push, and that was under the McMahon era. We have Triple H now, so whatever attitude problem, people have attitudes, people have egos. This is wrestling. Everybody's got to have an ego in order to get themselves over, right? So at the end of the day, it's a fresh start. It's a clean slate. I think Top Dollar can be a star. I believe that Hit Row, with the given vision that I think Triple H will do for them, will get them over. They're still over with me, and we'll see how they do in SmackDown. That's all I have to say. Go ahead, George.
So, admittedly, I don't follow SmackDown at all, and I'm very unfamiliar with this group, with Top Dollar and whoever. But from what I've seen on social media of Top Dollar, it seems like he is full of himself to a degree. Basically, he thinks he's a bigger star than he really is, and whatever has gone to his head just seems to keep leaking out. I know once he got released from WWE, he basically went on the indies, because I did see him pop up a couple of times, but nothing to write home about. And I know people have been saying that Swerve was really the star of this group, and I'm starting to really understand why. Swerve has been good in AEW, and it just doesn't seem that it seems like that he's going to be missed when all is said and done. And the only other thing with Top Dollar is people were saying when this group broke up that he was the one who might get the push because of his size, and I think that kind of got his ego a little bit boosted up. But again, this is a situation. I know we were all kind of ragging on Vince for some of the releases. This one might not have been a wrong decision by Vince, at least as far as the long-term lookout is. I don't see this group being top contenders in any way, shape, or form. Maybe one of them goes after a mid-card title on, as a single star, but that's about it. But hey, prove me wrong. And that's all I really got to say about it. Brian?
We'll hear from Brian and then Sean real quick, and we'll move on to Dynamite.
So, I mean, with Hit Row returning, I really enjoyed that because I didn't really get a chance to see what Hit Row was capable of because I fell behind on certain weeks of NXT. But from what I've seen from him uh, back in the days of NXT, like early 2.0 days and everything like that, kind of to defend Top Dollar, maybe it's just one of those things where he's kind of, living the gimmick, as they would say, because back in the day, guys had to act like they were bigger stars than they were. And, I feel like Top Dollar kind of fits in that category because not only does he, treat himself like a star, he, wants to have Hit Row in these high level spots. So I've got nothing but high hopes for Hit Row. And, I hope that we see Hit Row as, tag team contenders in some point. Um, but yeah, that's all my thoughts on that. Sean, what you got, bud?
Honestly, I think they might be missing a little bit of that oomph that Swerve was giving them. And it's not really WWE. I mean, it is WWE's fault, but I mean, there's nothing they could really do to get him back for obvious reasons. But this gives them, in my opinion, opportunity to maybe call up someone from the NXT roster to fill that void. And I think Carmelo Hayes would be a good option. Help elevate that group to new heights too. Someone who can talk regularly on the mic, because I feel like Top Dollar and Adonis are kind of like just fill-in spots, henchman spots. I don't think they can do much like lengthy promos and whatnot. But yeah, my 2 cents.
All right. Well, looks like we got everybody's opinion on that. Moving on to Dynamite, Quake by the Lake. As we all know, we're a big fan of these random titled Dynamites here, so we had another one a week after we bitched about it. So we had Darby Allin against Brody King, in which Darby won that bloodbath of a match. Brody, first couple minutes into the match, if that was cut open.
What was the match, Chad? What was the match?
Coffin match. Thank you.
Hey,
Bringing
there.
point number 2, what we were bitching about last
It
week.
wasn't a
is the
wheezing
Gimmick
match?
It was a coffin match. Thank you, Joey.
Oh my God.
We also
Joey,
had Sting.
I hate you for that joke, Joey.
Dad jokes.
I love myself for that joke, so that's fine,
Get
George.
banned. You're gonna get the get fucked button for that one. We had Sting come back from that, and his eye paint was similar to the House of Black, because he got misted, right? During his last one of his last appearances. So
Yeah.
it was cool to see him incorporate that into his face paint. So we'll see if that changes his character at all, or leads him down some sort of path here next couple weeks. I did take notes. We had a Jericho promo after that. We had Andrade and Rush versus the Lucha Bros, in which the Lucha Bros lost. We had Penta lose his mask at the end of the match, trying to go for a save. And then we had a Hammerlock DDT by Andrade for the win. After that, we had a Young Bucks segment in which they thanked Hangman for saving them last week. They also apologized and asked him to be their trio's partner for the tournament, but Hangman declined, said he's not going to be in the tournament, and he's going to be with the Young Bucks. Or, I'm sorry, with the Dark Order. With the Dark Order. He's going to be in their corner to try and get them, the... am I trying to say here? The attention they deserve. They've lost every big match they've been in, so it'd be interesting to see how they do in the tournament. We had Luchasaurus basically kill Anthony Henry, in which Jungle Boy was on commentary for that. Christian Cage at the end of the match was backstage talking some smack to Jungle Boy, in which Jungle Boy went back and started beating some ass. We had another Miro promo on Malachi Black and the House of Black, in which Julia Hart was actually in the promo. So that was pretty interesting. We had Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt come out to talk about the TNT title. Basically telling Wardlow, you're going to give us this match or we're going to come take your title. Wardlow accepted and came out with FTR in a little showdown, but nothing happened after that. We had Aaron Solo versus Ricky Starks, in which Ricky ended up winning the match and was attacked by the Factory afterwards. We had a promo between the Best Friends and the Thrustbusters, which led into Rampage on Friday.
Trustbusters, not
Trustbusters? God damn it! I don't know why I said that. I can't read my own handwriting, so I.
Thrustbusters.
Trustbusters.
I'm pretty sure Thrustbusters would be fronted by Val Venus.
Sounds like a GCW tag team.
That's going to be our tag team. Me and
The
Bobby. The
Thrustbusters.
Thrustbusters.
The Thrustbusters.
God damn it. Yeah, I can't read my own handwriting. I apologize. We had Madison Rayne versus Jade, in which Jade won the match, as you probably could have expected.
37-0.
34-0.
Oh, I thought it was 37.
34.
36.
34.
36-0.
Is it
36.
Are you sure?
36.
I'm positive.
There was a dude with a big
Richie
ass
Buckets
sign.
knows his girl. Richie Buckets knows.
I said 37 because she's going to win her next match against Athena.
I literally watched it. And they had a thing on the screen. I thought it said 34.
Yeah, it's 36. It's 36.
It's 36, Chad. There was a dude with a big ass sign sitting at ringside that had it up. So yeah.
Fuck you guys.
Undefeated, never
36-0. 36-0. Okay, well, all right, we'll change that in the notes. Fuck it. Then we had Mox versus Lionheart Jericho, in which Moxley ended up retaining, as we could have guessed in that one. And we had JAS in the BCC post-match little skirmish, in which we had Punk return. So, thoughts on that other than correcting everything I got wrong? Jonathan, go ahead. Or John.
All right. Can you guys hear me fine?
Much
yes?
better.
All right.
Much.
Thank you. So yeah, beginning of Dynamite hooked me. The first 3 minutes, I'm just like, we're all talking shit about like, God, these stupid gimmick matches. Oh my God, Quake by the Lake. Now next week they got some Game of Thrones theme Dynamite. But anyways, yes. Yeah, the first, I want to say 3 to 5 minutes was just beautiful disaster. That's what I call it. The one thing that kind of turned me off from that match was the House of Black showing up again. I get it, they're feuding, but part of me is just kind of getting a little tired of it. That's just my opinion. But the ending, CM Punk showing up, those are the two big things I remembered throughout the whole Dynamite that I was watching. Those are the two big things that came to my mind watching Dynamite. Brian.
So with Quake by the Lake, I mean, I really enjoyed, like you said, it was a beautiful disaster in the first 3 minutes of the coffin match. That was like, I feel like that's my favorite match from that show, in all honesty, because there was a lot of, mayhem in the first 3 minutes. It grabbed your attention right off the bat. With the House of Black coming in, I'm fine with it. For me, I'm actually the opposite. I like seeing the House of Black interfere in the matches, especially when there's a no disqualification stipulation. But with Sting and Darby, I get it. Sting is his mentor and everything like that. But it always seems like Sting is the one getting Darby out of these sticky situations, I feel like we need more people to align themselves with Darby more than anything else. I mean, Sting's great, but he's 63, 62. I don't think he's got many more years to defend Darby left, in all honesty. But I did enjoy Sting's face paint corresponding to where he got misted the last time we saw him. Coffin match was great. Like you said, the ending with Punk coming back instant, that just brought me back into being interested in what AEW has next up their sleeve. But that's pretty much all I got to say about Quake by the Lake.
All right. Y'all saw my boy Ricky Starks wrestle. I'm nervous for what's happening with his booking, with the Random Factory, I know him and Aaron Solo were tag team partners back in the day. The most random thing was just Hobbs ripping off of the TV and then throwing it down. I mean, I guess he was just mad because Ricky Starks won, but I found that the most random thing ever. It's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna cut backstage and here's Hobbs, just let me just Hulk smash. So that was something glaring, but excited for my boy. Hopefully they don't mess up his booking. And then obviously with CM Punk returning, the face-to-face with Jon Moxley, to see the unification of the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. I'm looking forward to that at All Out. So those are my thoughts. George, go for it.
All right. So I think though, just to jump off what you said with the Hobbs thing, I think he was a little pissed because Ricky hit his big spine buster, which is Hobbs's big, whole big move. So I think that was what really set him off. But as far as the whole show goes, the Darby match, that was a lot better than it had any right to be. It was definitely an attention grabber. It really just set up, got the crowd nice and hot. So I really appreciated that. My other big takeaway is obviously the Punk thing, but we've said, we've all said what we're going to say about that. My weird takeaway from this was the Wardlow segment, because I was, the fact that he's realigned with FTR seems to be, kind of a thing, but I'm a little disappointed that it didn't happen sooner, because I would have loved to see them as a trio in this trios tournament. Although they probably would have, ran through everybody, but again, just a personal gripe there. And then the Miro segment was a little bit odd, but it was also kind of hilarious with the aftermath from it, because Lana's kind of pissed. So maybe we'll see Lana come in. That'd be great. Lana versus Julia Hart. Give me that. But yeah, as far as House of Black is concerned in its entirety, though, get him away from Darby. We need to get him away from Darby at this point. Be done with it. And, they're doing the trios thing, which is fine. There's obviously some weird storyline with Sting, but I don't know what they're going to do with that. But yeah, House of Black needs to be a more prominent presence on the show. I know that's been one of the biggest gripes among fans, is that they're not getting the right opportunities or being presented the right way. And I'm worried that they will fall into the realm that the Dark Order currently occupies, where they're just kind of a forgotten about thing. So hopefully they do something more with them. The last thing I did want to touch on was something Rich brought up, was the booking of Ricky Starks. Before we got on here, me and Chad were talking about that. I'm actually not upset with this whole thing with the factory. I want them to kind of give Starks that slow roll, so that when he finally does get to that big match, that big championship match, it will actually mean something. So hopefully once he gets that big win, he gets he'll be over with the crowd, and it'll just be a big pop. So we've griped about long-term booking with AEW last week, and I think maybe now they're starting to realize it, now that they've made changes to personnel that we talked about. So hopefully that'll translate to better storylines and better booking. Sean, go ahead.
So honestly, the coffin match, I feel like it was a wasted opportunity, because Darby and Brody have this chaotic, brutal chemistry with one another in the ring, and considering that there were one or two spots involving the coffin in the entirety of the match, it just made me feel like, why do the coffin at all? With the Miro segment, it makes me question, are you a heel or are you a face? What's going on here? It just doesn't seem to have, again, any direction exactly where he's going, or is he just gonna be some sort of anti-hero, like gladiator type guy, just wrecking through whatever? And the tease for possibly Omega's return, or what's rumored to be possibly Kota Ibushi, and then Punk's return, is a breath of fresh air, considering All Out's just weeks away, and they need all the star power that they can get to boost those buy rates. Considering they haven't built up any stars in all these mega stars absences. But overall, it was okay Dynamite. The Mox versus Jericho match was pretty cool. Seeing the Lionheart show off his technical mastery, something that he doesn't really show much of anymore. Makes me look forward to the possible matchup with Danielson. I'm hoping maybe like a submission match. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, Dynamite, meh.
One thing I'll say to add on to the conversation about House of Black, I really, and I joked and said that the garbage can, the recycling bin, and the dumpster should be the first trios championships, and that they shouldn't even exist. But since Tony Khan doesn't listen to this podcast just yet, if there has to be champions, I want it to be House of Black to actually give them some more legitimacy. I think they've done a really good job with how they've really made Brody King feel like a legit BA monster since his Battle Royal win, hanging solidly with Mox. And so to me, if we are going forward with these titles, do not give them to the Bucks and Kenny. I would even say the Dark Order is honestly too far gone at this point, even though I wouldn't be opposed to giving them the belts. Give them to House of Black because now Buddy Matthews, I believe that's his name, is back too. And just let them roll with it. See what happens, sink or swim. We're going to give you TV time consistently, not on Dark. As Rich does the jumping the shark motion, which I don't know what means, but hey, whatever.
We're just
Georgia,
trolling, bro.
So, sorry, you reminded me of a point I had actually wanted to bring up was the whole Young Bucks situation with their mystery partner. And it's an interesting situation because you had mentioned Kota Ibushi, but his situation with New Japan is really screwed up right now because he wasn't included in the G1, and he, as far as I know, he hasn't wrestled for them for quite some time. Basically following a whole falling out with them, following the death of his mother, I believe it was, and the situation, in his mental state regarding that. And Chad and I had talked about this, who other than Kenny Omega, because God knows what Kenny's health status is. Other than Kenny, there's really not, anybody prominent that could step up. Jay White's tied up with the G1 still. You could theoretically pull some guys that they've worked with, already as in AEW, guys like Dustin Rhodes, who they worked with for I think it was a dark match, I want to say. And then you got guys from like Impact Wrestling you could bring over. We mentioned Hikuleo could come in. One of the Good Brothers, possibly Carl Anderson or Doc Gallows would be an option there. Richie Buckets in our chat saying Chris Bay, but I'm not sure what the Bucks have connection to that is. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with this, because I honestly don't know how healthy Kenny is. We haven't really heard much, but if his previous status is to be believed, he might not be ready to go until 2023 at best. So the only other guy I could think of within AEW would be Matt Hardy, who worked with them for the Stadium Stampede match. And, he's certainly an option and would fit along with that whole redemption arc thing he's doing on BTE. So, that's a possibility. But again, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on who you think it could be.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you had mentioned, I mean, I feel like Kenny is far-fetched just from all the reports that have come out on him. Granted, we could all just be getting worked like we normally do. Same thing with Punk coming back this week, because everyone who was at C2E2 said he was limping, pretty significantly. Again, probably getting worked, but yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those weird things. Like, if it's not Kenny, who there's just not many people that have meshed with them recently. Obviously, since they just got turned on by um, Red Dragon. So Matt Hardy, I guess, is a pretty solid point based on the BTE stuff. But unless Hangman turns, I don't see that happening though. It's just kind of a weird situation they've put themselves in. I feel like, as we've talked about before, them breaking away from Cole and Red Dragon is definitely pushed off this far, like too far. It's just taken a long time for them to do that, and it's just really bad timing with the amount of injuries we've had, on the roster. And I don't know. I'm curious to see where they go with it. It'd be nice to have Kenny come back, but with the amount of injuries they said he had, and the reason why he's been out for so long, I hope he's not. I hope he's 100% if he does come back. I don't want to see him come back like 75% and then we lose him for, another 6 to 8 months or however long he's been out. So hopefully it is a wise decision and not a rushed one.
So I just wanted to touch on something you just kind of mentioned here. There's still a possibility Hangman does join up with them, which if he does, I could then see a Dark Order heel turn in the finals. And that would be very, very interesting and something that would be very unexpected given everything we've seen out of them. So just wanted to bring that up. It's just an idea for a storyline, little fantasy booking. But let's go ahead and move on so our editor doesn't kill us.
Yep, John's getting a little pushy here. So we're going to move on to Rampage. First match we had was a AAA World Mixed Tag Team Championship match. Tay Mello got the little name change going on now that her and Sammy.
Congrats on their nuptials.
Congrats. Sammy and Ty versus Dante Martin and Sky Blue. We had Ty and Sammy go over with that. So after that, we had Parker Boudreaux. Hopefully I said that right. I know we were questioning that this weekend. With Slim J and Sonny Kiss. Now, it was a singles match.
It was Parker versus Sonny.
Was it Parker versus Sonny?
Yeah, it was Parker versus Sonny Kiss.
Versus Sonny, thank you. I can't read still, apparently.
I can't be quiet when I'm correcting stuff.
I am just struggling tonight.
Yeah, it was a squash match, Parker Boudreaux versus Sonny Kiss.
And we had a Sonny Kiss heel turn after that.
That didn't happen till...
Was it later on? Okay, well, continue.
Continue on.
I'm just going to keep reading. We had Gun Club versus Danhausen and Eric Redbeard. The Gun Club went over in that match. Orange Cassidy versus Ari Daivari. And yes,
that's the Sonny heel turn.
That is where Sonny turned. Thank you very much.
There you go.
I knew it happened at some point. Obviously, I saw the notes on that. But Orange Cassidy did go over, and Sonny Kiss turned at the end of the match. So we actually were talking about that last week. I think George was the one who mentioned we'd like to see some more things happen with Sonny Kiss, who's been pretty talented. Very fun to watch. Early on, Sonny had a lot of TV time, and they had a little skirmish with Joey Janela for a little bit, and then they kind of fell off. So nice to see Sonny back on TV. George, go ahead.
So yeah, let me jump on the Sonny Kiss bandwagon here. Yes, thank God we've got Sonny Kiss back on TV. Best booty in the business. I'm loving everything I'm seeing with Sonny Kiss since joining, with the Trustbusters, not the Thrustbusters. But the whole thing with him was he, I should say they though, because I don't want to screw pronouns up with Sonny, but they were off TV for well over a year, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I believe they're a day one signing with AEW. Mm-hmm. And it's just such a disservice, that they were kept off the main show. But I also understand where AEW was coming from, because at the time, Sonny Kiss was still finishing up college, if I'm not mistaken. And once they started to try to commit to AEW, things had moved on and moved fast. So it felt like a missed opportunity then. But this new faction now that he's with, it's basically, if you follow the social media accounts for Ari Daivari and Sonny Kiss, the whole premise here is that Daivari has picked up guys that have been overlooked, underutilized, and just under just underestimated. Slim J is a guy who has been, I guess, is better than he looks from what I've heard. And then Parker Boudreaux is an absolute monster of a man. Basically, they're booking him like Brock Lesnar. And then you got Sonny Kiss, who talented as hell, doesn't get enough credit for what they do, and is now is going to be a big deal with this group. And Sonny has been selling the shit out of this heel turn on social media. So if you haven't checked it out, go through his Twitter. It's he's definitely feels vindicated in what he's done, and it looks like the fans are actually on board with this turn. The fans are, you think the fans would be like, oh my God, you turned heel, we don't like you anymore. No, the fans have been like, yes, more of this. As long as you get some TV time, we're with you, bud. So, I'm glad for that. As far as the rest of Rampage, it's Rampage. What can you say? That's all I got. Sean, go ahead, man.
First off, the Danielson promo actually had me looking forward to the 2 out of 3 falls match on Wednesday between him and Garcia. Garcia really added a little bit of story to their little feud. But Trustbusters, I'm glad Sonny Kiss is getting TV time, but this Trustbuster thing is a little much. It just looks. Yeah, I'd rather at this point. It's not far off for me. Trustbuster. It's like, what is the point of them? Are like some Island of Misfit Toys? Like Slim J, maybe he's good, but he looks like Jamie Kennedy from Malibu's Most Wanted. Parker Boudreaux, I feel like he's going to be wasted. It just looks, the writing's on the wall for me is they're going to misplace him like he was misplaced in NXT. And frankly, I don't know if he's quite ready for TV time. Maybe he should have spent a little time on the indies and honed his craft a little bit, created his own character. I feel like it's a far cry from a Lesnar. His physicality is really good. But I don't know. I feel like their coming match with Best Friends is going to be the start of what's to come, and I'm seeing and them taking an L in that match. Just faction bonanza once again. It's like, how many more factions do we need?
Yeah. Thanks, Sean, for those points. Again, Rampage is a throwaway show. Like, I am excited to see what Danielson and Daniel Garcia go do. It was a great promo. But it feels rushed. It feels uninteresting. Even when Hook came out there to like acknowledge the FTW championship and then forgot who came out. What's his name? The reality star that dates Snooki or married to Snooki, whatever his name.
Zach Clayton.
Zach Clayton. And it's like, I'm challenging you for the FTW championship. And then Hook's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna do that. Yeah. Like, okay. And the thing with the Trustbusters, it just looks like a convoluted group. Like, happy for Sonny to get on television finally after a year. I think the last time we saw Sonny was when they got squashed by Kenny Omega.
Like 6 seconds.
Yeah, the 6 second like thing that happened for the AEW like title tournament match for that. But that was wild. But ultimately, Trustbusters, I'm not excited for them. Parker Boudreaux looks like Brock Lesnar on Wish. Ari Daivari, whatever. I know he's from WWE, but there's a reason they let him go. I don't see the shine about him. Slim J, wannabe Scotty Too Hottie. So that's all I gotta say. Rampage. This is Richie Buckets being heel. Yeah, truth hurts. That's all. Go ahead, John.
Okay. Rampage. Thrustbusters. Thrustbusters.
Because we are a podcast, Chad, can you explain what John just did with his hands?
I just laughing at the fact he said Thrustbusters because y'all were giving me shit about it. So, explain yourself, or don't. Whatever.
Rich or George, go ahead.
Go ahead. Who's over
It's up.
next?
I'll take it here. So I want to just kind of give some legitimacy to the Trustbusters. God, you almost made me say Thrustbusters.
Hey, it's spoken into existence. Their name's getting changed. It's getting changed next week. I'm telling you.
Who are you gonna call?
Thrustbusters.
Jeez. Hashtag Thrustbusters. But no, I'll give some legitimacy to this group because they remind me, in a sense, of how New Day was when they first started. And I know that's a throwback because you got to remember when New Day was first formed, with Woods, and it was supposed to be like almost like a Baptist revival thing going on, or some kind of religious thing. It was a very strange idea, but they made it work. And because and it took time, but they got it to work. And I think that's where we're at with this group here. Is you've got guys that have a lot of potential, and as far as I can tell, most of them are very young. Sonny Kiss, I believe, is only like 25, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure how old Boudreaux is. I'm not, and Slim J looks like he just walked out of PE class, but again, give everything time to kind of progress and become what it needs to be. A little bit of organization, and with the right booking, they could definitely be an important part of a show, and any of these guys could go on to be single stars somewhere down the line. But I think the bigger thing with them is going to be, once this ROH situation is figured out, that might be their ultimate destination. So just be patient with them and let's see what happens.
I'm eager to see where they go. In all honesty, I personally, with this group, the more mismanaged their personalities are, I feel like that's what makes them more cohesive, more than anything else.
All right.
And I'm just seeing here in our chat, Boudreaux is 23. There's a ton of upside there.
Not right now, because it's not working for me right now. Maybe in the future, but not right now.
Well, one match happened. We'll see where they continue with them. We're going to head on to Impact Emergence. Myself, Rich, Bob, Brian, John, Joey, and Jonathan, who's not here, we all got to go to this event. My first Impact show. Actually, I think it was everyone's first Impact show. So I'm going to tell you what. We're going to go through the card here real quick, but this was probably the best show we've seen this year that I've gone to in person, and we'll go more in depth on that afterwards. We'll start leading into everything here. So, first match we had was the Digital Media Championship match between the champion Brian Myers and Bhupinder. Brian Myers ended up retaining the title. After that, we had a Knockouts World Tag Team Championship match. Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary versus VXT, which is Deonna Purrazzo and Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green and Purrazzo ended up taking home the belts. I was pretty excited about that. This is one of the matches I was definitely looking forward to. Pretty solid match. Bonk. All right, I'll play it. Whatever. Next up, we had the X Division Championship match between Speedball, Mike Bailey, and Jack Evans. Speedball retained in that match. Next up, we had Sammy Callahan versus Steve Macklin. Now, this was a wild one because it didn't happen right away. They started going at it and then basically left the stage area. They were backstage for most of the match. so they say, and came back out quite later on. So we'll go over that as it happens. We had Violent by Design, Eric Young and Diener versus Joe Doering and Chris Sabin and Kushida.
Wedgie.
Yes. Young
We'll
had
talk more
white,
about that.
Young had white tights on. That's all we're gonna say. Violent by Design ended up winning that match. Next up, we had Bandito versus Ray Horace for a Lucha Libre AAA attraction match. Bandito took home the win. That was an exciting one. Let's see. Boom. We'll continue on here. Finally, we got the Macklin Callahan match back underway. We had Moose come out and a whole bunch of people basically getting in between these guys after they finally made their way back out to the ring. Moose was banned from ringside, and the stipulation was now a no DQ match in which Sammy Callahan took home the victory. And then we had Honor No More, which is Eddie Edwards, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, Vincent, and PCO versus the Bullet Club. We had the Good Brothers, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, and Hukuleo. This was a no DQ match. If Honor No More lost this match, they would have had to have disbanded, but they ended up winning. They went over the Bullet Club. We had a Knockouts World Championship match between the champ Jordan Grace versus Mia Yim. One of the better matches of the night by far as well. Jordan Grace retained the championship. And then we had our main event for the Impact World Championship, Josh Alexander versus Alex Shelley, in which Josh Alexander managed to hold on and take home the victory for that. Gentlemen, what were our thoughts on this? I want to hear from Bob because, well, Joey, you go ahead, and then I want to hear from Bob.
Bob deserves to go first. So, Bob, you go first. I'll go after you, brother.
Well, guys, I just want to thank you guys for coming out on Friday because it was a fun-ass show, top to bottom, guys. Great card, honestly.
Shout out to Bob. But before he even gets shout out to Bob. We have been sleeping on Impact too long. We are sorry. This is me apologizing. Richie Buckets is apologizing profusely. I am sorry, Bobby.
It's all good, man. Better late than never, right? Again, where do I start, man? Like, I'm gonna go hot and heavy. We're gonna start with the best match of the night, the Lucha match. Phenomenal, guys. Phenomenal, top to bottom. I can't even call any of the action because it was so fast paced. But man, that match was hot and heavy. Hot and heavy, Joey. My second best match of the night, I'm gonna go with the women. Guys, the Knockouts killed it that night. Jordan Grace, Mia Yim had a banger of a match that night. Wow, guys, wow. And again, unfortunately, Mia lost the match. Jordan retained, but guys, phenomenal work from both women. And then, honestly, I think probably with the third best match of the night, the main event, Josh Alexander and Alex Shelley. Man, they put on a clinic. Talk about wrestling, guys. They were putting on. Go ahead, Chad.
I was gonna add to your third best. That was a pretty interesting match because it wasn't more so like an exciting match. It was really technical. Josh Alexander honestly wasn't winning like 75% of that match. He was really getting beaten on like the first majority of the match. So super technical. I've never seen either one of them wrestle before, so it was really really wild and really cool to see that. Definitely agree. That was probably third match. I think I agree with all of your layering so far. Just what an incredible show. Continue. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I didn't see who raised their hand first, but go ahead, guys. Step in.
It's Joey. Go, Joey.
Thanks, buddy. So one thing that really hasn't been mentioned yet, and I know we make fun of, especially Rich makes fun of when AEW would say, we're coming to Chicago, and it's really Hoffman Estates. Even within the Midwest and specifically Chicago land, this was my first, and I think everybody's first show in Cicero. Yeah. Cicero, for those that don't know, is a very close, older, like, I think we'll call it a suburb because it's really like a small city outside of Chicago. And Chicago Midwest has a lot of Latino Americans. And something that was really cool about this show, especially what I think helped make the Lucha match the match of the night, for me at least, is that the just how into it culturally the crowd was. It wasn't just talking in Spanish, it was really getting into and behind it. Esos Lucha, I think, was a chant that was done at least 15 times almost in
It
like
was
a
incredible.
14-minute match. And so just the vibe of the crowd, I think really something that's understated when we go to these big arena shows at Allstate or the United Center. So the fact that this was a more intimate, maybe 1,000 people show really stood out and made that show, in my opinion, better, especially that match. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, hands down, the Lucha match was with Bandito and Ray Horace was the greatest match. Not only with the influence of like the Latino community within the crowd, just the way that they were just doing ridiculous spots. I mean, I guess that's Lucha in a nutshell, but oh my gosh, I'm like, these men are gonna kill each other. But overall, the atmosphere, even like the in-miss promos, I think like with Kenny King talking, and then who came out? Heath came into our section. That was cool. And then Moose randomly talking in the background, and then you can just see like the curtain next to us moving because it's Steve Macklin and Sammy Callahan fighting in the back. I'm like, what the hell is going on? But overall, I would say the Lucha match was my top one. The women's match with Jordan Grace and me was also second. I would say Bobby's Order and then Alex Shelley and Josh Alexander, seeing from a technical side. Those were my favorite matches. I think my least favorite match was the Bullet Club versus what I can't even say. Honor No More. Not Hard. Honor No More. Yeah, I mean it's cool seeing PCO almost like 60 like do what he does. But all in all, hell of a live event.
JT.
Yeah. Again, thank you, Bobby, for telling us the group about Impact, and I'm glad that all of us were able to go. But yeah, from start to finish for Friday, it was great. Definitely my favorite match of the night is the women's match, Jordan Grace versus Mia Yim. I thought that match was perfect, technical wrestling, but also just a good match psychology throughout. It kept me very invested. That spot where they were trying to fight for submission and then they started hitting each other in the chest, it like, ooh.
That was fun.
So this is why it's my number one compared to, the Lucha Mask, the main event. Those matches are great too, but I felt like they could have ended it like a minute earlier. Example, was a Bandito giving the frog splash. I thought that's going to be the ending, but they did a couple more moves more. That's just a little critique. And then same thing with the Josh Alexander, Alex Shelley match. Same thing kind of happened too, where Alexander did like the spinning tombstone.
Oh, that was insane.
Think about it. That it came out of nowhere, and it's like, okay, this is good, and then kicks out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
anyway,
move after
being
that.
Too picky about it. Yeah. I'm not being too picky, but I do still love all the matches on the card though. But anyways, Chad.
Yeah, I was just gonna thank Bob for introducing us to Impact. I really wrote them off like years and years and years ago when they were still TNA.
You did, and I recall you gave me shit for watching TNA back in high school.
I gave them a lot of shit because all I remember TNA as a kid was
Hogan and Flair.
Hogan and Flair. Every time I turn on Spike TV, them two old motherfuckers would be bleeding like crimson red all over the place. Like, dude, you all need to retire. Like, that's all I got out of TNA as a kid. So.
Well, shame on you, Chad.
Shame on me.
Missed out on a lot of wrestling.
I missed out on a lot of shit, and hopefully, this gives me an opportunity to go back and watch a lot of that crazy shit because
you're gonna go back and you're gonna be like, "That happened? What the fuck did this happen?"
Dude, you're 100% right. 100% right. I'm not doubting you by any means.
And look, believe me, TNA was not always the best. There's a lot of crap on there too, guys. And you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, Vince Russo booked the crap out of it." So there's ups and there's downs, but I'm glad that you guys all enjoyed it. It was a fun show, top to bottom, guys. Honestly, I'm thinking like, what are my top 10 best pay-per-views? And I'm thinking about adding this on there now, man. Like this was literally top to bottom, hell of a show. I'm trying to think what else kind of caught my eyes, and I'm like, yeah, that was fun. I understand you guys didn't like the hardcore match, but again, in a in a show, it's gotta be a roller coaster. You're gonna have some ups, you're gonna have some downs.
It was different.
You need something to cool down the crowd. Again, the crowd was into it though. They were brawling all over the place.
Yep.
But I get it from your point of view, guys. But yeah, no, honestly, if you guys have anything else to add, go ahead.
I'm definitely gonna piggyback off of Joey with having like the Latino community in the arena. Not only were they there, but they were next to us. So like we were fucking screaming random shit, and I didn't know what they were saying half the time. Like I didn't really pay attention in Spanish class. Like I knew enough to get by, but dude, it was incredible. And I'm not spoiling anything for last night's tapings as well, but they were in full force again, and they had a drum. Someone was just beating the fuck out of a drum during some of the matches. Like it was incredible. Like that's the shit I love. Like lucha stuff. Like wow. Like that match was just so amazing, and like the crowd being into it. And Bandito and them like looking at the crowd and like trying to get them to hype up and everything. Like I just enjoy the shit out of that stuff. So
I agree with you on that, Chad.
Yeah.
Joey?
Yeah, so Chad and I think Richie Buckets mentioned it earlier. The whole wedgie scenario with
Yes.
Eric Young. So as Chad mentioned, he was wearing white with, I don't even know what the shape of it was on the back of his trunks. Chad, can you describe the shape of it? Because you called it a skin. What was the shape?
I don't know what the shit. It was like, honestly, it looked like he was wearing a diaper, and it looked like there was, I don't know if it was like tan or brown on his ass, but literally his trunks were so like probably the thinnest trunks I think I've ever seen a guy wear. But like they were riding up his ass, and we were calling him out the entire match, like wedgie, wedgie.
And he acknowledged it too. That was the funny.
He like pulled his shorts back up so they weren't like.
He literally smirked like, yeah, you got me there.
He laughed at one point when I screamed.
He was like, yeah, it's yeah,
awesome.
And Eric Young's a pro's pro. I mean, he's a respected guy. He's been around forever. So for him to smile and acknowledge that definitely made me smile. And I'm like, all right, like he gets it. He can make fun of himself. He was basically Butters in TNA for years before being more serious. But we didn't do the first wedgie champ, but then afterwards, I want to say I started 3 or 4 of them. Chad might have as well, especially with the skid mark scenarios. But it was.
I think I called him skid mark. Was that me? Yeah, I called him skid mark. That's what it was.
You only had 1 beer that night, Chad. You should remember this. Come on. Go ahead, Rich. That's what I got to say about our
2
boy.
days ago.
No, overall, great event. It was really great to see a wrestling community, especially in that venue. It's not one of the bigger venues at the Cicero Stadium, but it felt bigger than what it actually was if you were in the atmosphere. The way that the crowd was into each match, I don't think there was a dull moment. If you want to count the hardcore match, no disqualification match as the dull moment, I mean, it still was good, but all in all, great venue, great show. It was a good time with you guys. And yeah, again, thank you, Bobby. Shout out to Bobby for being a trooper.
Don't worry about it.
I think we'll talk about that in our bone to pick.
But to add on, the crowd was hot, and you know what? I do hope Impact comes back to the Cicero Stadium, because man, that crowd very loyal to the wrestlers and to the company. After the event, we got to see some of the people stick around, and I'm just like, man, how do I sign up to become an Impact VIP member here so I can go and do the meet and greets after the show?
Titanium, bro. Titanium. Which I don't even think they were checking anything for that.
We brought that up. I'm like, man, maybe I should just sneak my way in there. They won't say anything, right?
You can get the sympathy card, Bob.
Maybe next time, right?
Yeah, we had an injury.
That we're not going to disclose on the podcast.
We should disclose it. I tagged you on Facebook.
We're going to go ahead. Let's move on.
That's Bobby's business. We don't want to hear Bobby's business.
We will move on to Chef's Kiss. So Bob and Joey, why don't y'all bring it to us?
Cool. Bobby, go ahead for the first one, man. We're transitioning a little away from Impact right now, but Bob, what was your Chef's Kiss? I believe from Raw, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. So, guys, my Chef's Kiss for this week was the Dexter Loomis stuff on Raw. When I was watching Raw during the show, they were doing like backstage stuff, and I noticed there was a car crashed in the backstage. I'm like, what's going on? But they didn't bring it up. I think it was an interview with Kevin Owens, and I'm just suspicious. What's going on? Dewdrop and Nikki Ash was in the background. I'm like, oh. Then they showed it again, being told off later on in the show. And then at the end of the show, you see the security police guys coming after somebody. You're like, what's going on? And then he looks up and it's Dexter Lumis. And I'm like, wow, all right. So I actually like that, and I'm curious to see where they're going to go with Dexter Lumis now that he's back with the company. I know that he had a cup of coffee at NWA. But again, I'm intrigued to see where this goes. I saw Joey. Let's go ahead. What was
Chad, you want to jump in about this?
I did want to jump in on that because it was really fucking confusing because so it was like a weird transition when Nikki Ash and it was a Dewdrop. They were walking backstage and then they bumped into was it Edge or somebody?
Oh,
who was it?
I think that was an earlier segment, but yes.
But it leads into this. It was AJ. They bumped into AJ. The camera then starts following them or AJ. I forget. It switched up, but you could see people fucking sprinting in the background.
Yes.
Which I assume is up to that car crash where
Correct.
Nikki Ash and them added up. It was really odd. It was cool. Like it was something way different than I think I've ever seen. Camera-wise backstage from any promotion.
That transition, that easy transition.
But there was no mention of it at all, which was really, really odd. I think I messaged the group chat. I'm like, hey, what the fuck just happened? Like, who's running back? Like, it was interesting. It was really it was different, and I will give you a thumbs up for including that in your chef's kiss because it was a different way to bring somebody back for sure without them saying anything about it. I don't think they said anything on the show. We just found about it on Twitter, right?
I think maybe Corey Graves might have mentioned something at the end, like, "Oh, that's Dexter Lumis. What is he doing here?" But other than that, they didn't mention the backstage shenanigans. None of that was brought up. It was just, what is Dexter Lumis doing here? But yeah, George.
Sorry about that. So I got a really outside of our normal conversation chef's kiss for you guys tonight. We're going to take this over to Tokyo Joshi Pro. And I know I posted this in our little group chat, a little earlier. Yuka Sakazaki knocking that bitch the fuck out. Holy crap. I am down for dark heel Yuka. Give me more Yuka, please. God, if you haven't, I don't know where the hell you can watch this. This came up randomly on my Twitter, but I gotta find a way to watch Tokyo Joshi Pro because Jesus, if you're gonna do stuff like that, that is a chef's kiss for me. All right, but that's all I got.
Give the mic back to Joey there.
Yeah, so mine is going to come from, and I mentioned before, Bob, I really like Lumis's character work, so him back on TV, I love. For mine, it is to NXT, and I actually was happy that we talked more about NXT this week. I'm biased. As Bob is to Impact, I am to NXT, to take it to a math equation scenario, but someone that could have been on Chef's Kiss if we did this show a year ago would have been Andre Chase and Chase University. Now, he's not the most physically intimidating guy, kind of has a very punchable kind of face, not very athletic, etc. But he has this whole university professor. It's like he runs his own college, very much a old school movie mentality of he's not really respected, but his people like him. And so there's this newish girl called Thea Hale. Very cute young lady as well. Very excited, overly excited almost, and really at times pushing the guys and hurting them. And so what happened actually the week prior was that Santino Marella's daughter, who now wrestles in NXT, called Ariana Grace. She's a legit former beauty pageant contestant. They brought that into the show. And so as a result, apparently they had a match way before they actually got her a black eye. They brought this into the segment as if they're sitting in Andre Chase's dean's office, and she's saying, she gave me a black eye. It's not fair. Thea's freaking out about it, saying, it's my fault, Mr. Chase. I'm trying. And he says, well, because this happened on Andre Chase University grounds, I have the right to make a match. Very campy, silly, almost a offshoot in a way of like how the Fashion Files were taken with Breeze and Fandango a few years ago. Like totally their own universe. And that's kind of how this fake college is. And something that he does too in his segments is he'll just randomly drop an F-bomb and swear randomly. And instead of letting it come out like it does on Dynamite, they will bleep it out and they'll put a little Chase University logo right on his mouth when he swears. And so it just makes me smile every time. They have a little Easter egg of the crowd having a section. Usually it's in like the far left of the Full Sail section with like 12 people wearing Andre Chase University stuff. And they'll call it the student section from time to time. So the fact that just they get consistent TV time, they're a lower mid-card act, but at least they're letting them be creative for as long as this has been in existence. And so I just loved it. So chef's kiss there. Bobby,
we had a combo, right?
Our combo was about the pre-show, specifically the women's tag title match in there. Bobby, the original incarnation of Chef's Kiss was about Seth Rollins' Dusty Rhodes polka dots. So we have a fashion-related Chef's Kiss this time, as Chad holds back the horny bond because it's not related to this at all. I'm just letting you know.
Thank you.
But Bob, go ahead. Why did we like the attire on the winning tag team?
Well, guys, when you saw Chelsea Green and Diana Peraza come out there, they looked like a goddamn team. Honestly, they had the matching gear. They had music. They had team moves out there. That's a tag team, not just two people put together. All right, figure it out. They had a great look out there as a team. Thanks for the bonk, but guys, honestly, like we need
really
more
did.
of that with the women. Like, come out, look like a tag team. Don't look like, oh well, I look like a dark gothic chick, and then I'm a pretty hot. Like, no, I y'all gotta fucking work together, come up with something. And what Chelsea Green and Deanna Peraza are doing with Vex
is what they usually call it. Yep.
I'm liking it. I'm all in. So we need more of that on the WWE side, because I see the women's tag tournament and I'm seeing all these names and I'm like, bro, they're just a bunch of random ass women put together. I can't really get into that, you know. So what they're doing on Impact, keep it up. Joey?
Fully agree. And I know like some of the classic tag teams on the men's side as well in history, you know, have been odd couples or not wearing matching gear. I can think of obviously the New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg wearing his full getup and Billy Gunn just wearing trunks, a Kane and an X-Pac, for instance. But really that combination of smooth maneuvers, similar but not a copy of each other's characters and move sets. If you want to treat tag team wrestling seriously, this is a very easy way to do it, even if the people involved aren't necessarily the best athletes. Matching gear, that little extra step, that's what we want to see. Chad, go ahead with, I think, an offshoot as well.
Yeah, I had an off one for you. Real quick, I'm going to add to what you guys were saying about the tag team stuff. Definitely watch the next two Impact shows, because some of your gripes about some tag teams, I think you'll see some more effort into some of the future shows. So stay tuned for those. I'm going to actually try to watch that shit now. So we'll see how that goes. No, mine, I guess not necessarily a chef's kiss, but it was a kiss in a sense. At GCW Homecoming, we had Mox, the GCW champion, against Effie. They had a kiss mid-match, and it was actually pretty fucking funny if you guys didn't get to see that. Lots of big things happening GCW this weekend. Cardona and Chelsea Green actually just renewed their vows tonight and were crashed by Nick Gage, who is actually challenging Mox for the GCW title here in the next couple events. And we're actually going to the Art of War Games 2 the week of All Out. We've got like 5 or 6 different shows we're going to, so I'm really pumped to see that. George, go ahead.
Just jumping off the Matt Cardona thing, I know Shad saw this, but that outfit that he wore, the whole purple and white, the purple and white Macho Man outfit, it's on his Twitter if you haven't seen it. Go check it out. It's a freaking riot. And then the preceding tweets that came after, it was like, oh my god, come on. It was like, he's all bloodied up, and it was fun. But yeah, go check that out if you got a chance. Just a little fun thing. Because obviously they were parodying the Macho Man Miss Elizabeth things. So but yeah, cool stuff. And that's all I got.
All right, that
Hey,
was
Richie, bone to pick?
Oh, I mean, we already know my bone to pick, but I think JT's got a bone to pick, and we agree on this bone to pick. So I would like to hear his thoughts first before we go to my bone to pick.
Yeah, I got a few. All right. Anyways, Cicero Stadium. Okay. We get there. There's an elevator to our left, and there's stairs, right? Unfortunately, Bob's in crutches. So we're like, oh, elevator, push button, doesn't do anything. Then the guy's like, oh, I guess it's broken. And we're like, okay, we're carrying Bob up the stairs. At the end of the show, get close to the stairs. Some security guy's like, oh, here, you can come over here. Pushes the button, works. Dudes, really? All right, second thing, Cicero Stadium. Go upstairs, long draft to get there, boys, right? Excited and pumped. I'm like, okay. We get there, try to look for our section, and there's like, our section's not there. It's gone. It's disappeared. And I guess the promoter guy or security guy came up to us like, hey, where are you guys sitting? It's like, oh, let me talk to someone. All right, waited like 3 minutes. He's like, yeah, I guess your section's non-existent. So why don't you guys sit over by the bleachers? And then I'm just like, I realized that it's a $20 difference from sitting in the seats going to the bleachers. So yeah, that kind of pissed me off. Third thing, Cicero Stadium, cash only for the beer. Why is that a thing? All right, that's my bone to pick. I got a lot more, but you guys can go key on.
I wanted
JT,
to add to JT's our seats that didn't exist thing. I feel like that kind of worked out in our favor, in a sense. Granted, yes, we did spend more money, but we definitely got to see a lot more going on.
Hold on, my God.
It was one of those. It was one of those like 50-50. Yeah, it sucked, but in the same sense, I felt like I kind of enjoyed the seats better. But the next night, our seats were pretty fucking awesome. So
yes,
it's kind of a win, kind of a loss. Like, I get it.
Yes.
Totally agree with the fact that it wasn't fucking there to begin with. Like, literally our whole row, and we weren't the only people that it happened to. But I did enjoy our view. So go ahead. Sorry.
I got something. I totally forgot. One of the biggest things that annoyed me the following day. Okay, first of all, yes, beautiful seats the second day. Loved it. There's this guy. Okay. Let me see if you guys know who this guy is. Who's that guy? Does anyone know who that guy is?
David Penzer of WCW and TNA fame.
Yes. So this gentleman right here, the whole night is like, all right, guys, we're going to go live. We got free t-shirts. Let's see who can make the loudest noise. Everyone's like cheering, like, yay, right? Yay, I want a t-shirt, right? And then he doesn't do anything. And this guy does it at least 6 times. Then I'm like, the 6th time, okay, all right. Everyone's more hyped than before because there's a wrestler by the guardrail. And you just see them about to throw something. They're like, oh, they're coming to our section. Let's go. And no, they just tickled my ball sack, guys. I don't know what to say about that, but I was looking forward to those t-shirts.
Blue balls for sure.
Yeah. Anyways, Richie?
Yeah, a lot of the similar things, JT. Cicero Stadium, your accessibility sucks for people that are dealing with ailments at the time. So I felt bad for our boy Bob. Definitely got his cardio in. But yeah, if you say that the elevator's not going to work like the day before or the time we get in there and then we have to carry up Bob up there and then it's like, oh, just kidding. It's working now. That's definitely the cash only beer stand also a bone to pick. We don't have Square, we don't have Venmo, we don't have Zelle. We live in the 21st century. Another one was someone was ripping ass in our bleachers. I don't know who it was. It was not me, but the people behind us, I don't know if it was one of us, but definitely was not me. That was my bone to pick. And obviously, my bone to pick since episode 1 has always been Mr. Juicy Joliet, is what I'm going to call him now. You still owe me an apology, but you don't have any social media accounts unless I contact your wife. I hope you don't win the G1. I hope you lose. Yeah, Dave Pencer, you owe me a shirt. I have a bone to pick with you. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. Go ahead, George.
All right. Just touching on the Juice situation, it does not look like he's going to win the G1 unless he can somehow beat Will Ospreay. So don't worry there. But my bone to pick, and this is one that really needs a good call out. Steve Carrier of Ringside News. You creepy, horny fuck. Holy shit. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, Anna J posted a picture on her Twitter of herself at her hotel room looking very nice. Steve Carrier decides to follow it up with asking for her room number. And that's when the shit happens, because Anna just replies with yuck. That's all that needed to be said. And everybody from AEW has piled on this. The tweet has since been deleted by Steve Carrier. However, the fact that you are a wrestling journalist for a supposedly reputable, wrestling, dirt sheet, yeah, there is no place for that. Period. Dude, keep it in your pants. All right, slide into the DMs like the rest of us. Get denied like the rest of us. You ain't gonna get none. All right, you creepy little bastard.
I don't even know if I'd go that far. I just wouldn't say anything. That's just
No,
bad.
but in all seriousness, have some goddamn respect, man. Like, dude, I don't care who you are. If you're a fan, if you're some self bigwig journalist, whatever. Like, dude, have some respect for female wrestlers and females in general, for fuck's sake. Like, God, that's originally I just wasn't even gonna have a bone to pick until I just remembered that the sickening thing fucking happened. But god damn. So that's all I got. Anybody else got anything? Go right ahead.
Going
Hard to
once.
top that, honestly. Go ahead, Rich. Try to.
Yeah, my bone to pick is with you, Joey, for telling me to shut up. Same with you, JT. I hate y'all. I still love y'all, but I hate y'all at the same time. Shout out to Bobby. And yeah, that's all I have to say. That's my bone to pick.
Ryan?
So my bone to pick is with Mr. Tony Khan himself. Mostly for booking Rampage like an episode of Dark. Honestly, I thought when Rampage was announced, it was going to be a bigger deal of a show than it has been in the past. I mean, don't get me wrong. The first episode was great and all with, the title change of, Christian Cage beating Kenny Omega for the Impact title. But ever since then, it's just felt like instead of must-see TV, you don't have to watch it in order to figure out what happens. It's a very predictable card from the moment it's booked. I will say this, I'll give him credit where it's due. I think the show this past Friday, is a step in the right direction as to what Rampage should totally be. Introduce new factions, introduce new stars, keep all these people that you have on your roster, these day one signings, reintroduce them since they haven't been on TV in like over a year. It'd be a great place for Kip Sabian to pop back up. It'd be a great place for Penelope Ford to display her athleticism and like build characters up. That's actually why I'm happy to see the Trustbusters be featured on this. I'm happy to see Sonny Kiss get a spotlight that they deserve. Not only that, Hook gets a spotlight since he's a newer guy, and it's so it's just one of those things that I thought it would be super simple to figure out, but apparently he's just still, trying to figure stuff out as he goes along with it. So I hope Rampage is, better in the future. And I just hope that we get better quality matches and matches that are must see instead of matches that are easily missable and dismissible by that standard too. So that's my bone to pick. But yeah.
All right, Mr. George, round us out for the evening here.
All right. Before I take us home, just one little quick hit here. So Ari Davari of the Trustbusters, now that we brought them back up, he has signed a deal with AEW. It is a full-time deal, and it looks like he's also doing producing for AEW, and was responsible for a recent women's tag match. So I believe I'm not sure exactly which match. I think the last one I saw was the Britt Baker Jamie Hayter tag match against Thunderstorm. If he did in fact produce that, then props to him for that. Hopefully, he keeps some good things coming like that. But that's all I got. Obviously, guys, watch more wrestling, watch different wrestling. I know everybody here says, they're very, getting into Impact. More props to you guys. Impact's not my go-to. I used to watch Impact way back in the day when it was still TNA, but that's just me. But anyway, long and short here, wrestling is good. Make sure you guys are good and doing the move. Obviously, check us out here. If you're watching us here on Twitch, make sure you guys hit that follow button. It does help the channel. If you're watching us over on the YouTube, after the fact here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notified when we go live or when we post new content. All our socials will be there. Follow us on Twitter, and Facebook, Instagram. I believe we have an Instagram. And we're still trying to figure out if we have a Snapchat. We have a logo for it, but I don't know who's running that thing.
It is I. It is I. But it's all the same. It's all the same stuff that we've been using to log in. So if you want to utilize the Snapchat, go for it.
No thanks. I don't have that stuff. But if you want to talk to Richie Buckets on Snapchat, by all means, slide into his DMs.
I'm taking y'all. I'm taking.
Oh
yeah, yeah. So
it's tomorrow at 7 p.m.
All right. So guys, look forward to that. And again, YouTube, Twitch, twitch.tv/do-the-move. I'm sorry, Do the Move podcast. Let me make sure I get that right. And other than that, on the behalf of everybody here, make sure you guys are keeping well and do the move.
Do the move.
Do the move.
Later, everybody.
You say